All right, so now I've used my creature layer just to get the selection around my creature, but now I'm going to move that selection to my more rubble layer, and I'm going to select the inverse. So now it's selecting everything that is the creature. To see that large like that, but focusing in just on the foot. So I selected from the clean outline of the creature, I added to it, cut into the tail a little bit. I actually might have cut into the tail too much, depending on what the rubble is, but I'm only deleting from this layer. And so now I hit delete, and it helps that claw, well, really all those claws, come over the top of that rubble. I'm trying to think if there's any reason I don't want it to, and I can't think of any. Okay. So my only problem with that is that this rubble, let's put it up to 100%, maybe that will make more sense. There we go. Is it doesn't really look like the claws are gripping into it yet. So that's where dodging and burning is going to come in. I also want to reposition this claw a little bit. So I go to my creature layer. I'm going to select this claw. And I'm going to use, this is a little tricky, I'm going to use Puppet Warp, set the joints where they are in the claw, and then one at the tip, and then move the claw where I want it to be. Yes, I see what went wrong there. But I've already cut out that shape here, so let me go before I cut it out, and I realize that problem now. So before I clear from my rubble layer, I want to make sure that claw is placed in a way that feels more believable. So I'll deselect, go to my creature layer, position the claw more believably. With Puppet Warp, which works so well on just little details like this. It's a little more problematic when you're trying to animate or change the whole creature. But these are such powerful feet that I want to make sure they really communicate gripping on. That's the challenge. Okay, so that claw is in place there. I can do it also to this claw, just to have it clamp onto the side of that. Select it, hit edit Puppet Warp, set your joints. You need at least 3 joints. And apply it in. And then I might even, while I'm at it, since I'm showing you this, I might even do it to here. Now the trick with this claw is it's lined up with its tail. So I need to push it up, not back, otherwise I'll have a cutout of the tail. And then I do edit Puppet Warp. And these are skills we're going to use again with our animation. So I can move the claw up a little bit like that. Clamp it in. All right, so now if I like my creature's foot placement a little bit better, I can actually just move that rubble behind the foot and then use this foreground rubble layer to really make it feel more believable. Oh. More is connected than I remember. Yeah, so I like that I have that little rock there in front of the claw, And the claw really feels like it's gripping onto something now. But there's little areas in that foreground rubble layer that, where is it? Here. That don't look quite as believable. Like this. This rock's edge. Some transitioning. But I like that rock is kind of obscuring the claw a little. Okay. Oh, and just one last thing. I could take this creature's claw here. I can try puppet warping it. This might be too close. Yeah, and it takes a piece of the wing with it. Let's see, how can I deal with that? A lot of creative problem solving required here. So instead, what I'm going to do is circle around the claw of my creature layer, make a duplicate of it, and then just rotate that claw a little bit. Maybe free transform it, stretch it out, place it in. I want it to hit the rock, but still hook into that same place. So I'm going to use distort. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so distort seems like the most effective tool for that. And then I'm just going to selectively clone stamp at 100% now where that claw was on the creature layer. So replacing the tail that I lose. And then I can use the regular eraser tool to get rid of that background claw. All right, so now I've got that other foot placed. In these two types of rubble. Let's bring this back to 100%. I don't know if I need those other bricks. In fact, I think I might just want to go back to this layer. Nope, not that layer. Which one is it? Foreground rubble layer, maybe? No. Got a lot of rubble to play with here. La la la. There we go, this layer. I think I just want to make that a little bit bigger and use those instead. Yeah, for where it's gripping. And I think I want to take away from the creature's tail, because that would be behind this rubble. So I'll select that out. So a lot of trial and error to figure out how best to get your creature integrated onto the surface. It's working better. I'm going to take that rubble layer. Do my best to kind of sink this in a way that's more believable. I got to treat this edge, but I got to figure out where that layer is first. There it is. I'm going to call this even more rubble. So I can erase the rough edges away from this. So I'd forgotten about all these different rubble layers that I added in previous demos. but they give me the tools I need to be able to place this creature really believably. Yeah, so now it looks like he's grabbing onto the cinder block. Better than that other chunk. If I was a big exotic bird, I would choose a cinder block to grab onto. All right, I know I obscured the bottom so it doesn't look so copy-pasty to that. Yeah, so that's looking better. Now, I gotta take that cinder block and I have to dodge and burn it. But I might start just with levels and I might just deepen its contrast, limit its highlights in the first place, and just hit its edges. And now I'll just burn kind of a cast shadow, small parts of it, and then I'll also dodge some highlights on the top side of it where the claws aren't hitting, since there's quite a bit of light hitting the claws. Seems like some of that light should hit that cinder block too. I like that cast shadow there. I think that's helping sell it underneath that talon. All right, so now I've got the feet integrated. I can also affect my creature by dodging and burning as well. So as much as I've worked on these feet, I still want to maybe burn them a little bit more now that they have rubble at their base. Take some of the polish off of them. Yeah, so now they look aggressive. That was a lot of work just to place the feet. But why that's so helpful is now all I need to worry about are kind of these free-floating edges that aren't making contact with the rest of the environment. And that is pretty easy to do because it doesn't have so much to do with changing my creature design. It has to do with setting up the texture fills, letting them impact my creature. For instance, I can make a duplicate of this texture fill and put it over the top of my creature. You see how that kind of places them more believably? Usually I'll add more texture in the environment when I have a creature in the frame than when I don't. I could even just mess with this some more by making another copy of the texture fill and warping it so it's like his wings have just kicked up dust. You know, it's kind of swirling around him. And then erase away from that. Because these are just texture fills, I can use 100% erasers, big and bold, but very soft at the edges, kind of revealing the crisp textures and contrast underneath. So it's like he's kicking up dust there. If I want more of him to feel revealed. I can do that selectively. And this is how I can control what aspects of the animal I want the viewer